Okay, let's dive right in. You ever get a gift that just felt a little weird? You know, it looks great on the outside, but something underneath feels heavy. Well, the source material for this explainer says we do this all the time. We accept things we were never, ever meant to carry, and we're about to get into an idea that could completely change how you look at the gifts you let into your life.
And this quote really nails it. It's the whole point, right? The source is basically telling us to be careful because some so-called blessings are really just burdens dressed up to look nice. And here's the kicker. Not every gift is innocent. If you accept the wrong thing, it can cost you big time. Your peace, who you are, your spiritual health, the whole shebang. So, how do you even tell the difference?
So, let's get into it. What are these so-called dangerous gifts? We're going to break down 6 specific types that the source material warns us about. We're talking everything from physical objects with some pretty dark histories to offers that seem totally fine on the surface but could end up costing you everything.
Okay, so before we jump into the actual list, we got to talk about one key idea: discernment. It's like having a spiritual filter, you know? This isn't about being paranoid or suspicious of everyone. Not at all. It's just about being protective, because the things you let into your house, into your life, man, they can shape your spirit in ways you don't even see coming.
And here it is. This is basically the instruction manual for that filter. The source points right to this. Test all things, hold fast what is good. Now that's a huge mindset shift, isn't it? It's saying, hey, stop just passively accepting everything that comes your way. Instead, you've got to become an active inspector of what you're letting into your world.
All right, first up, category number 1. This one's all about physical things, physical objects, and the unseen baggage they might be carrying with them. So the source doesn't mince words on this one. It says that objects used in occult stuff or rituals, they're not just, neutral decorations you can hang on the wall. They're seen as symbols of a spiritual agreement, a covenant. The message is super simple. If you know an object has that kind of history, it has no place in your home. Period. And listen, this isn't meant to be about fear. It's about alignment. The source uses this verse to make a really powerful point. You have to protect the spiritual atmosphere of your home. You just can't hold on to things that are tied to darkness and then expect to live your life in the light. The two just don't mix. Okay, let's move on to number 2. This one can get a little more personal because it deals with stuff passed down through your family. Yeah, this is where it can get tricky. We're talking about family heirlooms, right? Jewelry, little relics, charms, things that you know were used in rituals or spiritism. The source is really clear here. Just because it has sentimental value doesn't mean you're obligated to keep something that carries a dark spiritual legacy. And this is the why behind that advice. The source makes a great point. You can totally honor your family's memory without having to hold on to what it calls their spiritual confusion. It's about separating yourself from those objects as a way to reflect your new identity, your new path. All right, number 3. Now this one is way more subtle. We're not talking about a physical object anymore. We're talking about an internal feeling. You know that feeling when you get offered something, a job, a gift, some opportunity, and it looks absolutely perfect on paper, but your gut is just screaming no? Well, the source says that feeling, that unexplainable heaviness, that's a critical warning. Within this framework, that's seen as a signal from the Holy Spirit. And this is where it gets really interesting. The source uses this great metaphor. See, the original Greek word for rule here actually means to act like an umpire or a referee. So think about it. Peace is the referee inside of you that calls the shots, telling you if a decision is safe or if you're about to step out of bounds. So what's the warning sign when everything looks fine on the surface? According to the source, that lack of peace is the warning sign. That's the red flag. And it's so easy to ignore, right? Especially because we don't want to seem rude or ungrateful. But the big takeaway here is this. Social pressure should never, ever win out over your spiritual gut check. Okay, moving on to number 4. This is where that idea of discernment meets integrity. And trust me, this is a big one. The rule here is about as straightforward as it gets. If you know for a fact that a gift or money or some fancy item was gotten through corruption, fraud, theft, any kind of exploitation, you just don't accept it. The source calls this stuff ill-gotten gains. And really, this is the choice you're faced with. The source argues that even if you didn't do the wrong thing yourself, if you knowingly benefit from it, you're basically a spiritual accomplice. So you have to choose. Do you want the temporary benefit or do you want your long-term integrity?
All right, number 5. Now we're shifting gears a little bit from the spiritual and moral side of things to the emotional weight that certain objects can carry.
This is about stuff that isn't necessarily evil or demonic, but it's emotionally destructive. Think about it. Old letters from a really toxic relationship, or a gift from someone who totally manipulated you. These things can act like anchors, literally holding you down and stopping you from finding freedom from past trauma or shame or rejection. And the source is really blunt about this. If you want to move forward, you have to cut the anchors to your past. It says keeping these things is like living in a museum of your failures and wounds. Wow. And sometimes, real emotional healing starts with a physical house cleaning. And that brings us to our final point, number 6. According to this source, this one might just be the most deceptive and the most dangerous gift of them all. The source makes a really powerful distinction here. It says some gifts, well, they aren't actually gifts. They're hooks disguised as generosity. You know what I'm talking about, favors that have strings attached, things designed to pressure you into compromising your morals, or to make you stay quiet when you should speak up, or to get you to lower your standards. In this verse, this is the ultimate gut check question, isn't it? Is any promotion, any amount of money, any kind of status, is it really worth your soul? The source is crystal clear on this. A true blessing will never ask you to betray who you are or what you believe.
And this quote just ties it all together perfectly. Learning to say no isn't being rude or ungrateful. In this way of thinking, it's a virtue, it's wisdom, it's how you protect yourself. Because think about it, real gratitude isn't just accepting everything that comes your way, it's being wise enough to know what truly belongs in your life.
So that's the final question the source material leaves us with. It's an invitation, really, for all of us to look at our own lives, our own homes, our own hearts, and to ask that tough question. Is there some gift I've accepted that maybe needs a second look? It's a really powerful thought to end on.